يقدم متحدثنا التالي طريقة جديدة لإدارة الأعمال تجعلك فعلياً تنجز أكثر بوقت أقل، كما تتيح لك إحداث تغيير دائم من خلال عملك والارتقاء بجميع جوانب حياتك.
Now, our next speaker promises a new way of running a business that actually makes you do more in less time. And it also allows you to create lasting change through your business while becoming better in all categories of being human.
سيداتي وسادتي، دعونا نرحب بالمؤسس والرئيس التنفيذي لشركة مايند فالي، فيشن لاكياني.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a warm welcome and a big round of applause to the founder and CEO of Mindvalley, Vishen Lakhiani.
It's so good to be back at Sharjah SEF. I had such an incredible experience last year when I was here, and it was just mind-blowing for me to see how beautiful this part of the world is and how amazing and beautiful and incredible the entrepreneurs here are. I was honestly mind-blown at many of the startup ideas I saw last year, and I know it's going to be even better this year. Thank you for joining this presentation. I want to start with a story. When I was 17 years old, I was living in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I'm Malaysian by nationality, so I grew up, one person clapped. Are you the other Malaysian in the room? Awesome, nice to meet you. So I was a teenager in Malaysia. My parents were born in Malaysia. My grandparents came from India. And when I was a teen, I wasn't very tall. I was more small size, so my dad sent me to martial arts class to toughen me up. So the class he sent me to was Taekwondo. Taekwondo is Korean karate. Anyone here ever done Taekwondo? Awesome. We'll spar later. So growing up as a kid, I was fascinated by two things. Number one, Taekwondo. Number two, my dad, who never got a chance to go to university. He was not an educated man, but he was a good entrepreneur. He was self-educated. He grew up reading personal growth books. So I would get these books from him. Books by Jose Silva, by Bob Proctor, books on the subconscious mind, on creative visualization, and I was fascinated by what the mind could do. So I started meditating and practicing creative visualization, which is where you sit down, you meditate, and you visualize your goals in your mind, and you feel as if they are coming to you. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? I got into this at the age of 14, and one of the goals I was obsessed with was representing my country, Malaysia, in an international Taekwondo championship. So I would visualize myself representing, walking on stage, the Malaysian country name on my back, representing my country, being proud, being at an international level, winning competition after competition. And one day, this universe gave me that opportunity. I showed up to my Taekwondo school, and my instructor said, the US Open 1993 is about to happen. And we're going to be picking a team from Malaysia to go to the US Open. This was 1993. I was 16 or 17 years old. And he said that I would get to represent the country if I won the series of competitions leading up to it. So the first competition was the trials within my school. It was just the people in my school, not the entire city of Kuala Lumpur. Now, in this trial, what you had to do was break 3 pieces of wood. So you stand like this. There are 3 people holding these 2-inch pieces of wood, and you got to give 3 kicks, 1, 2, 3, and break every piece of wood. I'd been visualizing this for 2 years. I knew I was going to walk into these trials. I was going to win the gold medal. I would go to the citywide competition, win the gold medal, and be at the US Open. I knew this from the depth of my soul. It was my destiny. I'd been visualizing this for 2 years. Gonna happen. So I got there. This was my moment. The whistle blew, and I went boom, 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 and I put my foot down. And I saw all the 3 pieces of wood. They were still standing. Now, in my mind, I refuse to accept this reality. Have you ever seen samurai movies, like old Japanese samurai movies? They take the sword, they cut the person, and then the person is still standing, and then slowly the body slides apart, right? So I was there, I was looking at the wood. I'm like, it's gonna break, it's gonna break. It's slowly gonna slide, and I thought everyone is gonna get up and clap. The wood didn't break. The whistle blew, and I heard the word, out. And that's it, I was out. I lost my chance. So I didn't know what was going on, but I showed up to the citywide competition anyway to support the other people from my school who had made it. And my friend Daniel, he was in the sparring competition where basically you kick someone till they give up, and Daniel won, but he had injured his leg. So I was sitting in the benches, and he came up to me and he's like, Vishen, I'm supposed to be in the wood competition, the breaking competition, but I don't want to hurt my leg or make this injury greater. I'm already going to the US Open. Do you have your uniform? Could you put it on and go represent me? So, of course, I had my uniform because I was 17 years old and I carried my taekwondo uniform everywhere because I thought if I'm walking down the street and I see a lady getting mugged, I can go find a phone booth, change into my uniform, and go help her. So I had my uniform with me. So I put it on and I went in the place of someone else. Now remember, this is Malaysia. There were no rules, right? So I went in the place of someone else, and there I was in the wood breaking competition, the one I was not supposed to be at. And again, the whistle blew, and I went boom, 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 and I put my foot down. And this time, something strange happened. Every piece of wood broke. But not only then, I did it in 52 seconds. And the whistle blew again, but this time the crowd cheered. I won the gold. The previous record was 53 seconds. I did it in 52 seconds. I won the gold. I was going to the US Open. I couldn't believe it, but I wasn't even meant to be there. I learned an important lesson that day. When you're fixed on a goal, don't try to ask God or the universe exactly how to get you to it. Trust the process. Focus on the end result. So that was the first lesson. But an even bigger, more painful lesson was to come. So I go to America now, sponsored by the Malaysian government. They got me the uniform and everything. It was my first time ever in America. And it was so exciting. We went to Colorado to go to the Colorado Olympic Training Center. There were martial artists from all around the world. This is this huge facility in Colorado where people train for the Olympics. And there was the US Open, and now it was my turn to represent my country. As I visualized, I walked into that ring, the word Malaysia on my back, and now I was in the sparring competition, the one where basically you fight with someone else of the same weight range. Now back then, this was 1993, the contact lens technology was not as powerful as it is today, so I wore big, thick sports glasses, like those 90s glasses that go all the way down here. You can clean the lens by licking it. Now, in Malaysia, that's okay. You wore these indestructible glasses, but I was about to find out, in America, those glasses were not okay. So as I'm going in the ring, the instructor, the referee says, hey, you kid, get those glasses off. And I'm like, no, I can't see without these glasses. My power is minus 700. In other words, I couldn't recognize someone this far in front of me. My eyesight was that bad. But I had to take it off. The referee explained to me, kid, this is America. Glass breaks, enters your eye, you become blind, you sue us for everything. So no glasses. So I'm now essentially walking into the ring completely blind. But the worst is yet to come. They pair me up with the Dutch national champion, Glenn Rybak. Now, if you've ever met a Dutch person, you know that Dutch people are ridiculously tall. And I was convinced Glenn Rybak, he was half human, half giraffe. He was tall, he was elongated, he was like a human being that had been stretched. I couldn't understand it. It wasn't scientifically possible. But he had the longest legs. His legs were longer than me. And so I'm facing Glenn Rybak. At least I think I'm facing him. He could be here, he could be there. I couldn't see. And all of a sudden, boom, I get kicked in the head and I'm on the ground. And I wake up and I'm like, where is that guy? I can't find him. And again, I'm kicked on the head and I'm on the ground. And at this point, I'm fully on the ground. The instructor tosses in the white towel, the whistle blows, and I realized I had just become the fastest knockout in the US Open. I lasted 36 seconds. I was taken to hospital that day. I woke up in a hospital bed. When they finally cleared me and they put me on a bus to send me back to the hotel, I remember sitting on the back of the bus, and I remember these two American participants in front of me talking. And they were saying, "Man, did you see that Malaysian kid? I hope he's still alive." And I sank deeper and deeper and deeper down the seat. I learned another important lesson that day. When you visualize for something, be really specific, know what you want. I saw myself walking in the ring, the word Malaysia on my back, I got that. I just wish I'd seen myself also walk out of the ring and not be carried out on a stretcher. But this started my obsession with the human mind. I learned that our dreams have power. What we see in our head, we can make true in the world. But I also learned that you must dream the right dream. You must see exactly what you are meant to deliver to the world. And so many of us practice rule 1. We visualize, we focus, we get obsessed, but we are dreaming the wrong dream. This is what I want to talk about. This experience with the mind gave me the confidence to start Mindvalley. It became the world's #1 personal growth platform. As you just saw, Shafali Sabari, we organize events around the world. Shafali is one of our teachers. It gave me the confidence to write a book that became the #1 book in the world on Amazon. But I didn't get there immediately. It took me 10 years to figure it out. I was listening to Akon this morning. Did you guys like Akon? He was amazing, right? Such a beautiful, incredible light. Akon said, "Whatever you do, do not alienate your gifts." And that really hit me hard. Because when I first became an entrepreneur, I decided to alienate my gift. My gift was teaching. My gift was personal growth. My gift was being on stage. But that wasn't cool in Malaysia in 2010. Back then, what was really going on in Malaysia was that VCs were coming in, startup incubators were coming in, and what was really cool was launching your own startup. So I got sidetracked. In around 2010, I got pulled by the voices of the culturescape. In my book, I coined this word called the culturescape. And what the culturescape means is the world that we live in, the rules, the rituals, the beliefs, the societal models that we are functioning in and often blind to. Like a fish swims in water but doesn't see that it is in water, we are swimming in a complex web of ideas, rituals, beliefs, but we often don't realize that we are following other people's rules, often rules from generations long dead. As one internet blogger said, tradition is peer pressure from dead people. And I was following some of these rules. So our words define how we see the world. I had created rules in my head for words like success. I decided success was being a venture-funded entrepreneur. Wealth was about the amount of money in your bank account. I decided that the word entrepreneur meant someone who was working hard, who was hustling, who was delivering ROI to investors. I'd taken on all of these societal rules, and I chose to ignore my own gift, to ignore what my heart really wanted me to do. Now, I want to show you just how powerful words can be, okay? I came across this really interesting study on the concept of the color blue. Do you know that several hundred years ago, blue did not exist? Here's the evidence for that. If you look at ancient cultures, from Arab culture to Chinese culture to Greek culture, there's very little description of the color blue in their text. For example, in Homer's Iliad, the sea was referred to as the wine-dark sea. In ancient Arab poetry, the sky was referred to as the green, al-Qadra. And if you look at ancient Chinese texts and ancient texts from other cultures, there is no mention of the color blue. The question thus is, if we don't have a word for something, can we see it? So a group of anthropologists decided to do this study. They went to this tribe called the Himba tribe in Namibia. You see that picture? So they showed the Himba tribe people that circle of green squares. Can you guys see the blue square? Obviously, right? Because you have the word blue. Now, in the Himba language, there are 19 words for green. There is no word for blue, but 19 words for green. Believe it or not, the Himba tribe people, when they were asked which is the unusual square, they couldn't pick it out. But when they were shown this, can you see which square here is different? Sort of, right? The Himba tribes people could instantly see that that was a different shade of green because they have 19 words for green, but not one word for blue. So you can see how obvious that is to us, but it wasn't obvious to the Himba tribes people. In other words, our words describe how we see the world, but we get very hung up on certain words. One of the words we are most hung up on is the word happiness. If you ask different cultures, different people, different ages, different genders what happiness means, it's very different. And our industrial age schooling system, which I think is so horribly outdated, teaches us a predefined path for happiness, which often leads so many of us to wake up at the age of 40 going, what on earth am I doing with my life? It's the reason why in studies by Gallup, 87% of people around the world are unhappy with their jobs. 54% of kids in the world are unhappy with school. We chase an outdated, irrational model of happiness, and we think that we're on the right path. So, I want to share with you an idea that this word happiness, as we think of it, shouldn't really exist. But in fact, we should take this word and break it up into 3 distinct dimensions. Just like blue as a color was imperceptible to our ancestors, I believe if we break up the word happiness into its root parts, we see new depth and dimension to it that will help us lead a happier life. So here's what I think happiness is really about. I think there are 3 types of happiness. There's happiness from experiences. Happiness from experience is what most of us are obsessed with. It's attending a festival, it's traveling the world, it's being with your friends and your family. But it's illusory. You see, happiness from experiences comes because of chemical shifts in our brain. Dopamine, serotonin. If this was the only type of happiness, then we would have evolved a society where we are simply hooked up to machines pumping us with dopamine and serotonin, and we would be too blissed out to care. We'd all be hooked onto these machines 24 hours a day. So this obviously isn't the only type of happiness, yet we think it is. There's a second type of happiness, and this, I believe, is the one that we often miss. Happiness from growth. I believe that we are souls having a human experience. And I believe that what the soul craves is growth, is learning, is evolving and becoming a better and better version of itself. We forget that growth is one of the finest points of happiness. Think about your life, right, as you've gone through life. And you will often realize that the moments where you gain an insight, you gain a revelation, where you grow, are often the happiest, most special memories. Yet, if you look at our schooling system, they flip it around. They make it seem that learning is something that you do to pass an exam, that is something that you do to make your parents proud. They've taken what should be a natural form of happiness and made it a rote-based system. So that's the second type. Now, there is a third type, and that is happiness from meaning. Look at that baby. That is disgusting. I mean, it's covered in crap and blood, but think about that. Biologically, parenting is one of the most fulfilling experiences in our lives. The psychologist Baumeister calls this the parenting paradox. Why is it that parenting is such a horrible task? Anyone else here parents? How many of you here have changed a dirty diaper? How many of you here, as you're changing the diaper on your boy baby, he pees on your face? And how many of you here thought that was cute? That's happened to me. Yet there's so much meaning and depth and happiness that you get from being a parent, even though it's such a disgusting, thankless task. That's the parenting paradox. So obviously, happiness isn't just being pumped up with dopamine and serotonin. Happiness comes from growing. Happiness comes from meaning. But we forget this. And so we tend to chase a false construct of happiness that because we want to attain a false construct of success and wealth and accomplishment in the world. So this is what happened to me before I found my path. And I want to share this with you so you don't fall in the same trap. In 2010, this company became the fastest growing company in the world, Groupon. Anyone remember it? It was basically a coupon site. Today, nobody cares about Groupon, right? But in 2010, it was the fastest growing company in the world. So I was 10 years younger back then. I saw this and I decided I want to bring a Groupon type company to Malaysia. I wasn't the only one. There were 7 other Groupon style startups in Malaysia trying to dominate. I got $2 million in venture capital from Intel Capital Ventures, the Intel, the microprocessor company. I felt on top of the world. I decided to ignore my dreams and follow what the culturescape was saying I need to do. Start a venture-funded startup. Everything I thought I wanted in life, I got. Fast-growing business, check. We went from 0 to 30 employees in 2 months. Funding, check. $2 million in our bank account. Press and media attention, check. We were all over the press. Money, check. Titles and rewards, check. And we were racing and competing with the 7 other companies trying to be the dominant coupon company in Malaysia. But the fact is, 6 months into it, I realized I was miserable. I'd started showing up to work every single day and hating my life. I didn't care and I couldn't connect with the people that were part of my team because we were growing so fast, we just had to hire honestly, any idiot who would apply, right? I didn't want to talk to my investors because of the pressure that they were putting on me. And I didn't care about the business. I mean, why the hell was I in the coupon space? How are you changing the world if you're selling coupons and making people buy more crap that they don't need? And so I sank into a depression. I decided to give up my shares. I decided to go to my co-founders and say, listen, I can't do this. I don't want to wake up every day miserable. I gave it all up. I lost hundreds of thousands of dollars in the process. I had my co-founders, I had my investors really upset with me. But I decided I had to stay true to my soul. Now, what did I really want? I went and I decided to look at my goal list. And I realized something. Rumi often he wrote in his poems, let yourself be silently drawn by the stronger pull of what you really love. If you read Rumi poetry, you'll notice that there's a lot about listening to your heart, listening within, going with what you truly love. I wasn't doing that. I was going with what society said I need to do so society would love me. What did I really love? What I'm sharing with you here is my actual goal list from 2010. I actually wrote this down. Things such as, I will visit 100 countries around the world. I will have access to the most influential and fascinating people. I'll be a top speaker. Back then, I wasn't speaking much. I will go on amazing adventure trips with brilliant people. I will live in luxury and experience the lifestyle of the super rich. This is what I wrote down. Now, these all sound like fantasies. I had no idea how to put this together. And I even said this, I want amazing travel adventures. I want to have parties in the Mediterranean, the Caribbean, and more. I couldn't spell Mediterranean or Caribbean, but I put it down anyway. I wrote down I wanted to win an Emmy, a Grammy, or an Academy Award for one of my works. Again, one of those crazy dreams. I had no idea how to win an Emmy Award. I wanted to be an online star in personal growth and attain 1 million followers. All of these are crazy pipe dreams. I was much younger. Mindvalley did not exist as it did today. I was in the coupon space. I had no idea what was going to unfold. But 8 months after I started writing these goals down and getting crystal clear on the goal, I woke up one day and I felt really bad. I felt really lonely. I felt I didn't have friends. I felt alienated. And somehow this idea entered my head. And the idea was, start a festival. And I'm thinking, start a festival? I never wrote down start a festival in my goal list, but I decided to do it anyway. I started a festival. I invited 250 people to come and join me on a beach for a personal growth festival, and A-Fest was born. A-Fest now is going into its 10th year, and it became this amazing thing. And I realized that this festival gave me everything I put down on that list. All of a sudden, I was connecting with inspiring people. I was speaking on stage. I got to travel to all of these different countries. I got to live in luxury and 5-star resorts. I got to meet people who would become my best and closest friends. I got to bring my family into it. My kid comes with me when I go to A-Fest, and he gets to experience the wonders of the world. It was so interesting because I wrote down in my goal list to toss parties in the Caribbean and the Mediterranean. And through A-Fest, we ended up being able to toss these incredible parties in the Caribbean and the Mediterranean, renting castles in the Mediterranean, renting islands in the Caribbean for the hundreds of entrepreneurs who came to A-Fest. Now, I put down some other crazy things, win an Emmy. Now, I'll tell you something. This is crazy, but this is what makes me believe in magic. I had no idea how to win an Emmy. I can't even use a camera. But a filmmaker came to A-Fest and created a documentary based on A-Fest. And that documentary won an Emmy. I had nothing to do with it, but my name is in the producer list. Now, it gets better. He came back to A-Fest and created a new documentary, and it just got nominated for 3 Emmys. We will know in December if we win. So, again, nothing to do with it. All of these magical things came forth because I started putting to paper my crazy dreams. Now, I never figured out how to make money from A-Fest, but money was never the intention. Nowhere in that goal list did I say, earn this much money. But the magical thing that happened was this. A-Fest led to Mindvalley. A-Fest started in 2010. Mindvalley, as we know it, started in 2013. To this day, I've never figured out how to make money from A-Fest. But the ideas, the speakers that came to A-Fest, like Jim Quick, Shefali, I built a technology platform with them, and that technology platform, Mindvalley, is now about to go public. And it's become the #1 technology platform in the world. That wasn't even the goal. That just came from chasing my heart. So the money came anywhere. The message is, guys, don't be vanilla. The Culturescape will ask you to be vanilla because vanilla is safe. It'll tell you, be the doctor, be the engineer, do this, get this, this is what VCs are investing in, build a company here. But if you do that, you fail to listen to your own heart. Don't be vanilla. Be mocha chocolate with a spice of cherry, maybe a hint of Arabic coffee, whatever you want to put in your flavor. But you got to be an original. And that originality only comes when you listen to your own heart. If you bring in the true flavors of your soul into whatever business you go into and avoid the voices of the culturescape, which means your parents and your investors and your culture and your society, I believe you will have a far greater odds of success. Now, to help you get there, I want to teach you an exercise that I did that completely transformed my life. I did this for myself, and later on, it was so transformative, the American Management Association took this and tweeted it to all its members. Then other organizations started following it. And it's simply an exercise called the 3 most important questions, which is defined to get you to listen to your own soul, to tune out the voices outside and listen to the voice within. Would you guys be willing to do this exercise with me in the next 30 minutes? Okay, so to do this exercise, you first have to understand this, the difference between a means goal and an end goal. We often confuse the two. The means goals are the means to getting to where we truly want. Means goals are this. Study hard so you get good grades, so you get into a good university, so that you come out and you get a good job, work hard at that job so that you can save up money so that someday you can retire and travel the world. Means goals have a so in them. You're doing something so you can get something, so you can get something, so you can get something. Means goals are a trick of society. Means goals can really trip you up. If you look at American society, there's this really interesting phenomenon. I used to work in the legal industry in the US. America has 5% of the world's population, but 70% of the world's lawyers. So many Americans watch Ally McBeal and LA Law, those popular shows in the 90s, and decide that they want to be a lawyer. So they become a lawyer. They study hard to get into law school. They study hard to come out, join a law firm. They work their butts off to become a partner. Then they become a lawyer. And here's the grand statistic. 50% of lawyers are clinically depressed. Think about that. So many people go into a field where there's a 50% chance of being diagnosed with depression. Why? Because they forgot this. They're following the voices of the outside world. They were chasing means goals and not an end goal. I asked one of my friends who became a lawyer, what did you really want in life? And he said, I wanted to travel. I wanted adventure. I wanted to see the world. I wanted to do good things for people. He graduated law from Harvard, became a lawyer, became depressed, quit, sold all his possessions, bought a bicycle, and cycles across South America, taking photography and helping people. Think about how confusing life can be. We can chase something for years and years and years, only to end up there and realize how miserable we are. So means goals are a trap. They're a means to an end. Means goals are the bricks in the house of your future. But what you really want is the end goal. The end goal is the feeling you and your children have when they walk into that house. You don't care about the size of the brick or the color of the brick or even if the house is made of bricks in the first place. What you want is the end result of walking into that vision. But we get tripped up. Likewise, in my martial arts story, the end goal was I wanted to make my country proud. I wanted to feel glory. I wanted to feel happy when I got to be at the US Open. Instead, I ended up being carried out in a stretcher, fastest knockout in the competition, ending up in hospital because rather than look at all the feelings I wanted in the end, I was obsessed with the means goal, walking into that auditorium with Malaysia on my back. Nonsense. So, means goals look like this. They usually have a so in them. Do this so you can get that, so you can get that. Get the venture funding so you can launch the business, so you can sell the business, so you can get money in your account, so you can live the life you want. Means goals are about conforming to society's rules. In other words, you're not listening to your own heart. You're listening to the media or the press or the government or your parents or your culture. Now, end goals are where the lesson is. End goals are about following your heart. End goals are about feelings. Very often when you set end goals, it's about the feeling you have within the accomplishment of your goal. So many entrepreneurs set means goals for their company. So the goal might be, have a company doing 10 million, employ 100 people, be the CEO. That's rubbish. A better goal would be, wake up every day, loving my life, knowing that I'm so excited about going to work because I'm making a difference, have a team that I love being around, have enough money to live the life I want to live. That's what we're really chasing. But we get obsessed with the means, which is why if you actually look at entrepreneurs, so many of them are miserable. They have the 10 million, they have the 100 employees, but they hate their work. I know because I've been there. Now, Rumi said, only from the heart can you truly touch the sky. I believe that we are all born with certain abilities and gifts, with a destiny, as you may want to call it, of what our soul is here on earth to accomplish. A destiny, depending on your belief, that may be given to you by God, given to you by the universe, given to you by whatever higher power you believe in. Listen to that destiny. This is what Rumi meant by only from the heart can you touch the sky. So as we do this exercise, I want you to listen to your heart. I want you all to close your eyes right now and place your hand on your heart. Now mentally repeat these words to your heart. I got you. I'll be listening to you. Tell me what I need to know. You are the most important voice in my life. I love you. You can open your eyes now. So here's how the exercise works. Remember the 3 types of happiness. Happiness from experiences, happiness from growth, happiness from meaning. What you're going to do is to go deep and listen to your heart in terms of what your heart wants you to bring forth into your life in these 3 areas. The first is experiences. It is wonderful to write down on your goal list the experiences that you want to have. And experiences come from many varied sources. Last year at SCF, Muhammad Al-Abbas said, do what you love. This is a really important message. What are the experiences that you want to have because you know you're going to love them? And for most people, that experience is rarely raise $2 million from a venture capitalist. Rather, it's going to be things such as wake up in the morning next to the person I love, hold my newborn baby in my arms, travel the world, learn French, pick up a skill in art or photography that brings me bliss, not to sell a picture, but because I want to express myself. Have friends that I can stay up all night with, talking and opening ourselves up to. These are the experiences that our soul really craves. So that's the first thing you're going to write down. Now, the second thing you're going to write down is to be the man or woman who has these experiences. How do I need to grow? So let's say the experience that you feel is coming from your heart is that you want to ride a motorcycle and visit 10 countries across South America. How would you need to grow? Well, number one, you'd need to learn how to ride a motorcycle. Number two, you might want to learn Spanish. But you're not learning Spanish to pass an exam. You're learning Spanish because that is an expression of who you are to become, to have the experiences your soul craves. So the second question you're going to ask yourself is, to be the man or woman with all of these beautiful experiences in life, how do I grow? Najla said this last year, it's not just dividends, but a growth mindset that will bring dividends forever. We forget how important growth is in our lives. And what you're going to do here is make a list of all the ways you are to grow. Now, as you make that second list, we will go on to the third list, contribution. So here you're going to ask yourself the question, if I have all of these experiences, if I've grown to be this incredible man or woman, how then do I contribute to others? Remember what Sheikha Shama said this morning. We have to redefine the purpose of business to help the economy and society as a whole. If you have all of these beautiful experiences, if you've grown in this majestic way, how can you give back to society as a whole to help other souls become the best expression of themselves? How can we help the environment? How can we help the planet? How can we ensure that the good that we give in the world is long-term and transcends multiple generations down? These are the three questions. Now, when I do this exercise with groups, we take out a piece of paper and we make 3 columns. The first column, you list the experiences. The second column, you list growth. The third column, you list contribution. And this entire exercise is done in 9 minutes. That's it, 9 minutes. Now, why do we do it in 9 minutes? Because if I give you more than 3 minutes to write down the experiences you want, your logical mind will kick in. It will say, no, my father said a woman should never do that. My culture says I can't do this. What we want to do is tone down that logical mind and only listen to the heart. And this is where 3 minutes is all you're going to get to make this list. Now, of course, you can go back to this list and you can develop it further and further and further, but you're only going to get 3 minutes. Also because I'm running out of time. Now, each of these connects to each other, as I explained before. But I want to explain the power of this exercise. I've been doing this now since 2012 with people in my team. And I always observe that magic happens. Inexplicable magic that science cannot explain. This is Ronan's list. Ronan is actually speaking outside tomorrow on the Mindvalley stage. He's our health and fitness expert in Mindvalley. When Ronan joined Mindvalley, he was a skinny guy from Brazil, but he put these down. Inspire people to follow their dreams, have a strong, ripped body, speak in a TED Talk, have a super effective mind, have a center where people go to learn and improve themselves. He wrote all of these down with no idea how to make it so. Now, one day, Ronan decided to take part in a big race in Malaysia called the Viper Challenge, a really difficult race. 20,000 people took part. And Ronan came out number 1. Immediately, he was asked to give a TED Talk in Malaysia. His TEDx talk was so successful, he was flown to Paris to give another TEDx talk, which again was so successful, he is outside tomorrow, on stage here, speaking. Look at his crazy dreams and how they came true. He had no idea how to connect the dots. It's like Steve Jobs said, right? You cannot connect the dots going forward. You can only connect the dots going backward. And in that same speech that I'm talking about from Steve Jobs, it was the Stanford commencement address of 2005, he said, listen to your heart and intuition. They somehow already know who you are to become. Keep that in mind. Here's another example. Jason Campbell joined my team, and when we were doing our festivals and A-Fest, he would be the guy who would be managing the audio at the back. But in his 3 most important questions, he wrote this: build a team of employees, manage them, become a world-class speaker, be a better manager and delegator, teach entrepreneurship for a living. Think about how crazy that is, right? He was the guy managing the AV at our event. Now, one day we had an event in Croatia, and a key speaker fell sick. The speaker couldn't get on stage. So all of a sudden, I had this 20-minute slot and no speaker. And Jason comes up to me and he's like, Vishen, can you put me on stage? I have a speech I want to share. And I'm like, Jason, I'm sorry, but our stage is only for professional speakers. And he reminded me of his 3 most important questions and my commitment to support my employees in it. So I said, okay, fine, go on stage, just don't mess it up. Don't embarrass me. He gets on stage and he gets voted best speaker. Don't know how it happened. Today, Jason is about to launch the new Mindvalley podcast, Superhuman at Work. He is literally going to be, he's managing a group of people, he's become a host and a personality, and he's about to launch his podcast teaching entrepreneurship, sales, and awesome living, exactly as he put it down. But he couldn't see the dots connecting forward. This girl, Luminita, this story is crazy. She wrote these down. She wanted to be a photographer. She wanted to travel the world. She wanted to be a writer. She wanted to get a book deal, international best-selling author. She wrote all of this down. Now, Luminita worked in my team. She was a young girl from Romania. This was 2013. She ended up starting a little blog and writing her ideas in the blog. Now, one of the ideas she wrote down was a blog post called 15 Things to Give Up to Be Happy. That's just it, 15 things to give up to be happy. For the first 6 months, nothing happened. Then someone shared that post on Facebook, and another person shared it, and another person shared it. The post ended up getting 1.2 million shares on Facebook. It became the most viral personal growth post in the history of the internet. And she got a book deal from Penguin. They offered her a large sum of money to turn that post into a book. Next thing she know, with that sum of money, she got to travel the world, and guess what she did? Become a photographer. Again, magic happens when we listen to the expression of our soul. This is the final story. This one is amazing. This kid joined my team from Sudan, Amir Ahmad. He was 22 years old. Now, I guess there's an Amir Ahmad fan there. So as you know, Sudan was run by a dictator, right? And Amir he wrote a blog criticizing the Sudanese government. They didn't like that. He was 22 years old, and now Sudan they've gone through a beautiful, positive political change. But back then, it was very dangerous to do what he was doing. He was only 22 years old, and he wrote his goals down. He wanted to travel the world. He wanted to speak up for democracy. He wanted to write books. He wanted to speak at Ivy League universities. And he did this exercise at 22. When Amir was 26, his blog got so popular, he was invited to write a book. He wrote the book. It's called My Islam. And the book got picked up by Foreign Policy magazine as one of the must-read books of 2013. Next thing you know, Amir is invited to speak at MIT. He just gave a speech at Google. He spoke at the Oslo Freedom Forum, all before his 29th birthday. So, the question is, what magic are you going to erupt in your world? You guys ready to do the exercise? So, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 3 minutes to write down all the experiences that you feel you've been waiting to express, or you felt guilty putting down. Don't fall for any label. For the longest time, I wanted to travel for 6 weeks straight, but I said, I can't do that because I'm a father. Who will watch my kids? But that's actually wrong. I believe today I understand that my kids will respect me as their father more if they know I followed my heart. So don't fall for any label. You're a woman, you're a mother, you are from this country or this culture. Write down what you feel your heart is asking you to express. Now, here are examples of experiences. Love relationships. What type of love relationship do you want to have? Is your experience, is one of your experiences to have the most incredible, beautiful wedding with the man or woman of your dreams? Your friendship. Who are the people you want in your life? For me, friendship and friends and time with friends is one of the best experiences my heart longs for. Your adventures. What country, what places do you want to travel to? And finally, your environment, your house, your car. When you travel, do you get to stay at five-star hotels? What places in the world do you want to experience? Next, ask yourself this. To be the man or woman who has all of these experiences, how do I have to grow? Think about your health and fitness. How do you have to take care of your health and fitness? What are the goals you want? Go to the gym 3 times a week, train for a marathon, develop a healthy, fit body, run a Spartan race? Your intellect. What are the books you need to read? What are the seminars you need to go to? What are the programs you need to take to become that man or woman with all of these beautiful experiences? Akon said, "Let me step forward with my spiritual side before I step forward with my ambitious side." I love that. Another goal you want to write down are your goals for your spiritual life. How often do you pray? How often do you go to mosque or church? What do you believe in? What programs or training are you taking to fully express and evolve your spiritual side? And finally, your skills. What skills do you need to develop to be this man or woman of your dream? Now, you have the experiences, you have the ways you're going to grow. Pretend both have come true. And now you think of contribution. How will you give back to the world? Think about your career. Your career, if you work for a company that has a good product out, is a contribution to the world. Think about your creative life. Is your contribution poetry or art or something that makes people happy, even if you don't make money from it? Think about your family. How do you contribute to the most closest people in your life? And think about your community. Are there ways you can volunteer, you can give back, you can make your community and your culture stronger? These are some of the things that fall under contribution. When you put this all together, you become a different breed of person. You do not have a career. What you have is a mission. And the most exciting people in the world do not have a career. They have a mission. They have this mission to fully express life, this mission to evolve themselves into the best person they can be, and a mission to give back. That is where you want to go. And that is the secret to becoming a master in the art of being an entrepreneur or a creator. Now, the best part is, as you do this exercise for yourself, I want you to consider taking this back to your team. So I did this exercise as my own ritual, as a journaling ritual. Then I took it to my team. And in our company, it's like a blueprint for the soul. Everyone in my team, they stick their 3 most important questions on this giant board, and people go and they read each other's questions and support each other in their goal. So what I'm about to teach you is also a really powerful tool to bring to your company. Incredible things happen. These 4 people on my team all saw that they had put down hike the Himalayas in their 3 most important questions. They were not friends before, but they got together and went to support each other's dream to hike the Himalayas. So it creates really good friendship and connection between the people in your company. So again, consider not just putting the results of this on your wall, but getting everyone in your company to do it. Now, how many of you here have a piece of paper with you? Okay, great. So you're going to do it in a piece of paper. If not, you can use your mobile phone and later translate it to paper. That's my son, Hayden. I did this exercise with him at the age of 6. He wanted to learn all the languages in the world and build a flying car. But who knows what is going to be possible in the future, right? So even a 6-year-old can get this exercise. You can do this with your family. And in fact, in this particular, I received these photos and I was so happy. This is a school in India. People are sitting on a field and all of these school kids are doing this exercise. This exercise is now being used in hundreds of schools around the world. So you can do it with children as well. Now, you ready to begin? So, I want you to close your eyes, get into that relaxed state of mind. And again, if you don't have a paper, that's okay. You can do it on your mobile phone. But I always recommend that there's a power in writing it down on paper. The first thing you're going to look at is experiences. Now, as you write this down, remember this. when you dream big, your problems become small. The bigger your dreams, the bigger the vision for yourself, the tiny little problems, maybe you have a parent that you feel doesn't really understand you. Maybe you went out with someone and they didn't call you back. Those little things no longer matter because you are pulled forward by much bigger problems, problems to help the world, to better the world. So think big, stretch yourself a little. So we will start with experiences. I'm going to give you 3 minutes to just listen to your heart and make that list of all the experiences you want to bring into the world. Begin. And if we could have some light music playing in the background, please. As you write down experiences, I will help guide you by just sharing little tips and ideas. What would your relationships look like? Both your love relationships and your family relationships. Do children matter in your life? What experiences do you seek in your work, in your business? Is it leading a team? Is it working in a very positive, uplifting environment? Is it waking up every day with the satisfaction of knowing your product is changing lives? What are the feelings you have about yourself in your life when you wake up in the morning? And whatever comes, just write it down. Write down as much as you can, as fast as you can. You can worry about crossing things out later on. But right now, don't let your logical mind try to decide or make you choose. And remember, you don't have to know how to have these experiences. The how will come later. Trust in God or the universe to unveil the how to you. Great. Now we move to the second category, growth. So, to have these experiences in life, how do you now need to grow? What are some new skills that you need to learn? Some new wisdom that you need to gain? What are your goals for the books you read, the seminars you attend, the peers that you connect with? What new languages might you learn? What new job skills might you take up? And remember, whatever you put down, don't put it down because you need to impress someone or pass an exam. or because your employer says you need to. What you want to write down are things that you know that you would learn even if nobody knew you were learning them, because the act of learning them would be so beautiful and joyful to you in of itself. Don't forget to also think about your health and your fitness. To be an entrepreneur, you need to make sure that your body, your brain, your mind are all fully optimized. What do you need to learn about exercise, nutrition, sleep, and other qualities to help your body rejuvenate? And now, we come to contribution. Play a game. Pretend that all of these experiences, you were already having them. All of these ways of growing, you have already grown. How now do you give back to society, the world, and the planet? How do you make the world a better place? What are your means to contribution? Are you contributing your time and your wisdom to help someone else? Are you contributing through taking a job that actually does good for the world and is not just looking at short-term shareholder value? Is your product or service making the world better off multiple generations down? You also contribute to your friends and your family. How might you contribute to your children, to your parents, to your family members? How might you contribute to the people you work with? And now, you may put down your pens. So please give yourself a big round of applause. I want you to remember this. As you can tell, I really love Rumi. Rumi said, "Stop acting so small. You are the universe in ecstatic motion." So many of us, when we write this down, we write down based on what we know. We decide, okay, I'm here, I know how to get here, so our goals are at this level. But when you have more time, I want you to go back to this list. I want you to stretch yourself. Imagine you are the universe in ecstatic motion. You may not know how to get here, but stretch your goals. A good goal should scare you a little and excite you a lot. You want to make sure that you remember who you really are, the universe in ecstatic motion. I had no idea how to win an Emmy. I had no idea how to travel around the world and toss a festival. But when you listen to why you are here and you follow the right goals, it becomes so much easier. If it's an uphill climb, it's often because you are trying to go in a direction and your soul is going, no, you're not meant to be there. I was not meant to be an online coupon king. And I'm so glad I wasn't. I was meant to be here with you guys. But I had to listen to my soul and go through that painful process of starting a company and waking up depressed to wake up. But when we listen to our heart, we avoid the pain because our soul doesn't have to smack us at the back of the head to wake us up. So I hope you enjoyed this exercise. What I'd love to do is, if we have mic runners, have a couple of people share some of the things they put down. Is there anyone here who's willing to share an item from the first list, the second list, and the third list? Just one from experience, one from growth, one from contribution? Great, there's a volunteer over there. Do we have a mic runner ready? Well, there are several volunteers. So mic runner, I'm gonna let you choose. Those of you who are willing to share, just raise your hand. Now remember, as you listen to people share, remember there is no monopoly on dreams. You can't go, oh, she wants to go to Slovenia, darn, I wanted to go to Slovenia. It's a big country, people, both of you can go. So you can, if you see something else that excites you, you can write it down as well. So, who's sharing? Mic runner? Great. Tell us your name and where you're from and share one from each column.
I'm Sharjah. I am from Egypt. And I was manifesting this moment. So I like manifesting talking to you, Vishen. But I didn't thought that I'm gonna talk about in front of old people. First of all, I want to thank you so much because you changed me a lot. I always follow your videos, masterclass, programs. Mindvalley, thank you so much. And I want to share.
Yes.
Okay. I remembered one of the laws of universe that help people stop suffering in life. And one of the, it's mentioned in Conversation with God book, when you remember the laws of universe, you will stop suffering.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember that called the sequence pattern.
So what was the experience that you put down as your goal?
I want
So I want you to share the experience because I want other people may get inspired by it.
Yes.
Give us one of the experiences you put down.
I want to spread more the sequence pattern.
Okay, so you want to help people remember,
Yeah.
like a teacher, like a wisdom sharer.
Yeah, I'm a life coach also.
Perfect.
I actually started, but I want to
Now,
spread
growth.
more. Yeah.
Tell us about growth. What was an item you put down in growth?
Yes, I write that I want to read more personal growth and
Great.
to raise my consciousness.
So let's look and see,
Yeah.
see who else here put down that they wanted to read more books. Amazing. That's one of the clearest things, right? But many of us don't even put that down as a goal. When we start thinking, I want to read more books, we actually start figuring out strategies to get there. Learning speed reading. Jim Quick is, of course, speaking here. Getting an account with audible.com, and so on. What was something you wanted to contribute?
Of course, to raise the collective consciousness and to remind...
Through your work as a coach.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And, I want to also to work with you, Vishen.
Okay, you can't put me in that spot over here, right?
Yeah, I want, okay.
But
I
thank you so
manifest
much.
this moment.
Thank you so much. So give her a round of applause.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll have one more person share. Now very important, very important. I truly appreciated everything you shared and you came from the heart. But when you share, I want you to go straight to your experiences, growth, contribution, because we are running out of time. Okay, so just one more.
Assalamu alaikum.
Where are you? Ah, there you are.
The flower lady. I wear a Snapchat today, so I don't have to wear the filter.
So what was the experience you put
Okay.
down?
I need to finish some courses that I joined. I need to be me, to be the truth me. You said about languages, I would like to learn Germany. And when you said just get out of what people said, I got Spanish because I love that language. It has so much color.
And your contribution?
I would love to develop, and I would have my own YouTube channels where I will spread my knowledge.
Awesome.
And my
Awesome.
message.
Thank you so much. How many of else put down learn a language, right? That's really beautiful. I always used to think that I had to learn a language to impress my teachers because that's the school I came from. Today I understand that I can learn a language just for the fun of it, for the beauty of it. So that's very important. You must be doing it for your own heart. How many of you here put down something involving starting a YouTube channel or a blog or some social media? Amazing, awesome. So you can see when you start putting this down and you share it with other people, you find allies and people you can work with. We will have one last share. Yes. Whoever is speaking, go ahead. Stand up.
Hey, great. Thank you so much for being here. It's a pleasure having you on board. My name is Hamilton. I'm from Goa, India. And I'm quaking in my boots to be just speaking on mic right now. One of the experiences that I want to have is help people that are struggling. And today I've had the blessing of having somebody who suffers from Down syndrome join my team. Today was his induction.
Amazing.
And it kind of makes us human in many ways, knowing that there are people out there that need help, and we don't know how blessed we are to be helping them. So yeah, it is my dream to help people get along and be above.
So thank you so much. So there are so many hands going up, but we run out of time. But here's a tip for you guys. When you meet someone here, if you're having a cup of coffee outside, or you meet a new friend over lunch, and you just want to get a conversation going, rather than just talk about the superficial things, ask them, what did you write down in your 3 most important questions? Because you never know how you might meet someone that you can help, or you might get an idea that inspires you. And it is one of the most beautiful ways to connect with someone. This truly becomes a blueprint for your soul and who you are as an individual. Just want to give you guys a bonus tip. If you want to go further, there is a life assessment that I designed that helps you look at your life and see where in your life you have to add more learning and growth to, right? You can get it at life.mindvalley.com. It's just a free tool. So thank you so much. If you tweet this session, please hashtag me. I would love to see your comments and your Instagram post, and you can follow me on Instagram at @Vishen. Thank you for having me here. Thanks. Thank you.